A very good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us the way you always do on our program, Africa Discourse on Independent Television. My name is Evans Inokoge. Well, today on the program, we are going to the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we have a former president who is eventually the new president now. And we understand that it's been something that a lot of people expected because the election in December was something that a lot of people knew that Felix Tshisekedi will eventually win as the next president of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Well, against the backdrop that issues in the DRC have been on for quite some time now, and of course a lot of persons thought that the way the president, the former president, and of course the new president who has been sworn in, he may not get it, but as fate will have it, eventually he becomes the president of Democratic Republic of Congo. And we understand that the tenure that he has assumed on Saturday, because he was actually sworn in on Saturday, and is going to last for the next 5 years. That is the next time you're going to be having a presidential election in the DRC is going to be in 2029. So what are the issues? And of course, how do we begin to set agenda for the new president? That's what we're going to be looking at today on the program, Africa Discourse. Well, to do all this this afternoon, we're so privileged to have Nwita Igbutako, a serial author, and of course, somebody that is well-grounded in international politics, and of course, in Africa politics. Nwita Igbutako, you're welcome on this show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And of course, Happy New Year to you too. All right.
Happy New Year to you.
All right. So as we talk about the DRC election now, how does it hit you that Felix Tshisekedi now becomes the president of the DRC for the next 5 years?
Well, expectedly, given the political situation in that country, I knew he was going to be returned as president because in most African countries, what we see is a situation whereby the incumbent will go all out to ensure that he is returned. And I am saying this because during the election itself, there were cases of irregularities, cases of logistic problems. Voting did not start as it went due in some places. Voting went on for days in some places. And the opposition party, led by Moise Katumbi, who eventually got 8% out of the vote, cried almost immediately that the election was a farce. A farce. That's what we mean. It meant by implication is that the election was rigged. So for us, in the conflict arena, we know that Tshisekedi was going to be returned by hook or crook, right? Because he doesn't seem to be popular. Though he has spent about 4 or 5 years, he doesn't seem to be popular in that country. Most of the policies he has tried to put in place, he has not worked well for the people. About 70% of the people are still under abject poverty. In spite of the huge resources in that country.
And insecurity.
Insecurity is an issue.
Yeah.
We have Rwanda close to the border, and he has been making an issue. He said he will declare war on Rwanda because Rwanda is the breeding ground where the extremists, the armed groups, the armed bandits who are tormenting the country, they operate for the eastern flank of the country. And operating for the eastern flank, we are talking of Rwanda. So Kagame has been an issue. For me to viewers, Felix Tshisekedi doesn't want to see Kagame, given his contribution to insecurity in his country. So security is an issue. And viewers will know that that country is blessed minerals, gold, uranium, what have you, is in that country. And a lot of forces are at play. And Tshisekedi in the last 5 years has not brought something comprehensive in tackling the issues. He has been putting in place ad hoc measures from what we are studying for in that country. Comprehensive, programs that will take care of the country. But thank God now is back for the next 5 years. And we believe it will be able to do the needful, because this security is deep, eating deep to the fabric of the nation. It's an issue.
All right, so the way Felix Tshisekedi became the president in the DRC still remains questionable, because the first tenure, as far as political analysis, are concerned, there's really nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
But let's look at African politics now. Now, we have a situation whereby, there seems to be a kind of a pattern. Just because you did 4 years, then definitely there's every tendency that you do another 4 years. So what would you say is in African politics that despite the very conspicuous, abysmal, misbehavior, so to say, in the first, term, most African leaders still find their way into presidency in the second term? What's in African politics that we don't know about?
We know what is in African politics. In African politics,
yeah,
you have leaders who are interested in self-preservation. They themselves are their cronies.
No, I know.
When I say self-preservation,
yeah,
they take care of themselves more than taking care of the people.
Oh, should I ask the question? Maybe I'm not asking the question correctly. Okay. Now, leaders will always want to perpetuate themselves in power. But let's look at leaders now. Leaders are just individuals.
Yes.
And of course, there is an electoral system, that we have in African politics. So are we going to look at, is there something that we do not see or that we do not know about African electoral system that needs some form of explanation? Because it's always a situation whereby you have a president, taking first tenure, then of course second tenure he comes in. So what is in the electoral system? That
the electoral system in most African countries is very flawed. The electoral system needs to be sanitized. And in a situation where you have a sitting president appointing key elements into the electoral body, what do you expect? Just like Nigeria, when the president says, I appoint Professor this, who pays the piper, dictate the tune. They do so. The problem is lack of putting transparency. There's no laid down transparency that we see to free and fair elections. It's deliberate. That means why you see most African leaders, after doing 1 year, doing one tenure, they want to do another tenure. As I said before, by hook or crook, given the fact that the electoral process is porous. It's a deliberate process. Is it not easy to look across Africa landscape? Look at Europe, look at America. We can study the electoral process. Look at how they do their elections. How they appoint the key characters that oversee the electoral process. But here, people will sit in their bedroom and just do things and throw it to the public. There's no transparency. That is the problem. Lack of transparency. Most African leaders are so cocksure of coming back to power because they know they manipulate the process. How could Moise Katumbi, popular opposition leader,
lose the election?
Oh, because it's called 8%. 8%. But that is so. The porosity of the data system in Africa is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. The porosity. It's a deliberate process. So you just, until Africa and Africans ensure, just as we are saying in Nigeria, that let's start the process. Let's do things the way it should be done. How is it done in America, in United States? How is it done in Canada? How is it done in European countries where there will be election and it will be transparent? The popular guy will emerge. Look at what is happening in America right now. The presidential election is gradually
it's kicking up.
Yeah. Look at what is happening in Iowa the other day. There will be an army fair today or tomorrow. Caucuses. You see transparency in action. The city president of America cannot manipulate the process. Everything is electronics. It's transparent. But it's not done in Africa. That is the problem. That is the problem. There's no there's no evil spirit from somewhere, manipulating the process. It's Africa, African leaders. We want to control the process. We want to remain in power perpetually at their own, at their own convenience, without recourse to the people. It's deliberate.
Okay. All right. So
you say we have the same problem in Nigeria. Where people will vote.
Let's leave Nigeria.
Nigeria is in Africa.
I know, I understand, but let us.
But you said why you say prevalent in Africa? Nigeria is in Africa.
But let's leave Nigeria out of this first now. Now, the closest rival to Felix Tshisekedi now.
Moise Katumbi.
Yeah, Moise Katumbi. I remember Katumbi, but the other name, is always difficult. Now, he has promised that he's going to challenge the results of the election. As a matter of fact, on Saturday when Felix Tshisekedi was being sworn in, no comments from him. He said he has reserved his comments, and of course that he's discussing with his political leaders, with leaders of his political parties now to see the next line of action, as far as the election is concerned. But let us look at issues in the DRC one more time. We talked about insecurity. One-term insecurity
economic crisis
rocked, that nation for more than 10-15 years
since
now.
10-15 since independence.
You understand?
Since 1960.
Okay.
Since Mulumba was flushed down by international conspiracy.
Yeah, but the most challenging one has been
15
years true. Now. Now, for a lot of people, Felix Tshisekedi does not have anything to lose. That's the way they see it. I mean, he's already sworn in for the second term now. So, but let us look at the issue of insecurity in the DRC. Where can he start from? Because this has been an age-long issue in the DRC. You talk of armed banditry. It's so high in the DRC and all that. And of course, you talk about, all form of insecurity here and there in the DRC. So where will it start from?
Where? Just as what I've said there, in the first tenure of Felix Tshisekedi, he didn't do much to fight the insecurity, because those bands of militants operating from the eastern flank of the country, they are still there.
From Rwanda?
From Rwanda, yeah, eastern flank. So it's an issue. It's an issue. And why is it an issue? Because this country is sitting on the bottomless pit of minerals. Read my lips, bottomless pit of minerals. Gold, uranium, name them, in that country. And then the rate of vested interest, even across the Democratic Republic of Congo.
The Western interests?
Western interests.
Yeah.
People are financing the process. People are harming the militants. The militants don't produce arms. They don't manufacture arms. People sell arms to them. Those who are into, do we call it bloody business of arm race.
Yeah.
They sell the arms. They market their arms. Without this ammunition, the militants cannot survive. So the rate of factors, even across Africa, international conspirators, they are at play. So Tshisekedi needs to wake up. Now he's giving another 5 years. He needs to wake up and do the needful. He has to put a comprehensive plan. The other day he was boasting that he was going to deal with Paul Kagame. You think Paul Kagame had the issue? You are a president. Put a non-security apparatus in move. If need be, buy enough arms to curtail. No international party fire for fire. It's
do you think buying arms with, will solve the issue in
but you cannot find somebody with bare hands.
Yeah, because we call it insecurity in the DRC, but the people there, they look at it as more of a resource control issue. I mean, who owns the land? That is the big question. It's like what you're having in Nigeria here, whereby some tribes in the north will say that, look, this place is for us. Why the other people say, no, it is for us. So that has given rise to the insecurity in some parts of the north. So even in the DRC, it is similar. So is it a question of whether he should buy, is it a matter of buying more arms, or he should look down nitty-gritty to the root cause of the insecurity issues?
So when I say buy arms,
yeah.
because you cannot fight security situation.
This whole insecurity issue in the DRC, it goes into the Houthis and the Tutsi issue in the Rwanda.
It's ethnicism.
And what is that? It is who owns the land. I mean, so one part says that we are the owner of the land, the other part says no. So,
but in a situation like that, what do you expect the president to do? The president to be open-minded, because ethnic politics is an issue. Ethnic politics. But if the president of a country is transparent to and sincere, call the people to the table and discuss. That is one of the easiest way in resolving conflict. To resolve conflict, we must bring people to the table. There is nothing even military might can do. At the end of the day, after all the shooting, after the bloodshed, you still come to the table.
Remains.
So, Tshisekedi has not done much in the past 5 years. So we're expecting, to, as I said earlier, a comprehensive program of action to take care of insecurity in that country. Is it going to war with Paul Kagame that will bring peace? You should dialogue with Paul Kagame. Because you see Paul Kagame as somebody, giving those militants, all those insurrectionists, giving them, a covenant way to operate.
Coverage, yeah.
Coverage. But for me, it is not for Felix Tshisekedi to be a loggerhead with Paul Kagame. You should call for a comprehensive meeting. Dialogue. Comprehensive dialogue. Let's get things done. That's my view. Because as a professional, militarism will not take that country to anywhere. Demilitarization is an issue. People must demilitarize. People must be brought back peacefully to contribute to the development of that country.
Yeah.
So that's what I see it. There are a lot of post-conflict situation in Africa. We are talking about peace. Peace building. How do you build peace? You cannot build peace with war. You build peace with peace. We call it conflict transformation. You transform conflict into a peaceful means. You make sure people are demilitarized, so that people can have hope in their country. I agree that the ethnic politics, people are holding to the land because of their ethnic intentions, and things like that. But a president who wants to, Tshisekedi should operate like a nationalist.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
let's look at the era of natural resources now. DRC is one of the countries that has the highest deposits of uranium in Africa. And of course, this has been an age-long issue in the DRC. The next 5 years, a little wonder whether it will be enough for Felix Tshisekedi now to actually manage the resources in the DRC. You want to talk about this?
Well, as I said, the country is sitting on a bottomless pit of wealth.
Natural resources.
Natural resources.
Yeah.
So, Tshisekedi should just be a nationalist. The situation in Congo does not call for more frictions, does not call for more war, but call for peaceful process. He should make with Paul Kagame, for example. Because by the time he starts fighting Paul Kagame across the border, he cannot fight Paul Kagame. Kagame he had this guerrilla background. He's more like a military president.
Yeah.
So Tshisekedi should operate in that way. peace, whatever it takes, so that the abundant minerals in the country can be harnessed for the development of that country, for development to come to that country. Because there's one situation where about 70% of the people in extreme poverty, extreme, not middle poverty, extreme poverty, and they have things that can make them live a good life. So we challenge Felix Tshisekedi to make peace. You cannot develop you cannot bring any development to any people in an atmosphere of war. War is destructive, my brother. In conflict resolution, we know we've seen it all. The best way out is dialogue, pedagogic. The best way out is dialogue.
You know, the issue in the DRC is so complicated.
It's complex, but we have international manipulators, as I said.
Yeah, because most of the elements perpetrating the violence in the DRC, we understand that they are only first generation citizens of DRC. Their parents, in other words, their parents are from Rwanda and all that.
Burundi.
So, they can claim to be Rwandese,
Yes.
or they can even claim to be citizens of the DRC.
That's true.
But what we're saying is that, you know, because so many issues now, some persons have also suggested that Felix should try to constitute a cabinet that will run across all interests.
Is that what I said about being a nationalist just now?
Not just trying to rest it only to
your
political
ethnic,
parties and all that, because the way he came on board now for this second term is very, very questionable. So you want to see a situation of, you know, say the next 5 years now, he runs a government that run across all political strata and, of course, all interests.
Just as I said, ethnicism will not take the Democratic Republic of the Republic to the next level. It has not helped the country. Look at where ethnic politics have brought the country.
Yeah.
The whole place militarized. The whole place militarized. So the best way is to seek peace. How do you seek peace? As you rightly said, it should not be myopic. It should not populate his cabinet with his loyalists alone, ethnic loyalists or tribal loyalists. It should reach out. It should reach out. And if you can even reach out beyond the country to some international leaders who have influence, who can talk to some of these boys. There are people selling arms to these militants near the border. So Felix Tshisekedi should be a nationalist. Should control a cabinet that will consist of, in the interest of the prosperity, in the interest of development of that country. Because every other vices, every other measures have not helped the country. Since independence, Mulumba, Zaire, Mobutu, Dole Kabila, all of them. We know what happened to Kabila. Because he was not deep in the game of minerals.
Yeah.
A sitting president, Dole Kabila. So Tshisekedi should come out of his shells. Now he now has a second term, and I know he will remain. They're not going to. There's no court that will throw him out of presidential palace, given the reality in Africa. So I see him staying. I see him overwhelming.
Are you trying to preempt? You don't have to preempt. Are you trying to preempt?
No, we are experts. I'm a senator. We're right on this. The situation is, is dialectic. You can read. I'm an expert.
So are you trying to look at the situation whereby, because he's the president now, even if the case goes, how he becomes the president goes to court, he's going to win? Is that what you're saying?
He's going to win. Just like what we have in the electoral process. They pocket the judiciary. The judiciary is being manipulated. It's unfortunate for Africa and Africans. There's no transparency anywhere. There's no transparency. So the best way for him is to be a nationalist leader, not to be an ethnic genius, no? A nationalist genius. Let him come out, let him bring policies, let him drag the people. Let him have an open mind. let him reach out to even his enemies. Then, then if he does that, he's going to be one of the greatest presidents that ever ruled the Republic of Congo.
Okay. All right, so the program is still Africa Discourse on Independent Television. We're looking at the DRC, whereby it was in December that they had the last presidential election. Of course, Felix Tshisekedi becomes the winner of that election, the presidential winner, and of course he's been sworn in on Saturday. And we're told that he's taking a second term, and that second term is going to be rounding up, that's in 2029, a second term of 5 years. Yes. All right, so the issues are how will he change the narrative in the DRC, because we've seen situations whereby right from independence, but very most disturbingly, from the last 12, 15 years now, we see a situation whereby the insecurity issue in the DRC has become very, very alarming. So the big question is, how will Felix Tshisekedi change the narrative? We'll go for a short break now. When we return, we are going to be looking at how will he also, fight the Western interest in the DRC, because the DRC is a rich land of mineral resources. There's no doubt about that. But we understand that there's always been a Western, interest in the DRC,
conspiracy,
whereby at times they even conspire to ensure that they explore the mineral resources in the DRC. We'll quickly take a short pause. When we return, the program will still be on. Please stay tuned. All right, thank you so much. The program is still Africa Discourse on Independent Television, and we still have Nowitsa Igbotako, a Syria author, and of course an international conflict resolution expert. We're looking at the DRC, whereby Felix Tshisekedi, the former president, emerged as the new president of the DRC. And of course, he was sworn in on Saturday for a second tenure of 5 years. Now, we have been able to establish the fact that the greatest issue in the DRC as it stands today is the issue of insecurity. How will Felix Tshisekedi handle the issue of insecurity? Well, for our guest here, he has been able to opine that Felix Tshisekedi has to be he has to be all-encompassing. He should try as much as possible to carry everybody along, because what is really responsible for more than 80% of the insecurity issue in the DRC is, resource ownership. Who owns the land? You remember the Tutsi and, of course, the Hutsi in Rwanda. It is an offshoot even in the DRC, and that has been the story from right from 1960. And very disturbingly, about 15 years ago, that the insecurity issues, heightened in the DRC. All right, so the interest of the Western power is something that African leaders, it is not only in the DRC. You can hardly mention any African country whereby you don't have that Western interest. And it is very, very difficult most times for African leaders to say no to Western interest. Now, this is often at the expense of the people, because we're talking about resources here and all that. So for Felix Tshisekedi now, how do you see him running a smooth government without Western incursion, without Western interest and all that?
Western interest is perpetual.
Perpetual?
Because they don't have the resources in their countries.
Yeah.
They don't have it.
But do we know this? Do we know that they come and they inflict, they try to impose themselves on us?
You see, what I would advise Felix Tshisekedi to do is to be patriotic, not to behave like Mobutu Sese Seko. Mobutu Sese Seko was an agent of the CIA. It's narrative, we read it in books, the evidence. They keep Paris Mulumba, they brought Mostanse for the eastern part. Before you know it, they threw up Duse Mobutu. Nobody came to Seseko. So it's not left for Tshisekedi to be a patriotic nationalist leader who will not listen to those things that will drag his country backward. Well, they will be there. They will tempt him. Western interest is there.
Yeah, that's the big question now. Can he really say no to those temptations? Because most time these Western powers, they come with mouth juicy promises that they will develop your nation and of course improve on education and all that, you know, technologically and all that. So will he be able to say no to all that?
That is the way what we're trying to be. That's what I said earlier. I said you have to be patriotic. There must be patriotism. Patriotism that I don't want to amass. Because the thing will come. Do you know how many calls he has received? He has been the United States has congratulated him.
Yes. The US president has congratulated him, and we know that that is not done for free.
So, patriotism is the key. He must be able to look beyond today. He must bring vision. He must bring mission to play, to take 70% Congolese who are in abject poverty, who have been tortured by economic crisis, who have been tortured by security problems, who doesn't have hope for tomorrow because there's insecurity. So Tshisekedi should look beyond today. He should do the right thing, not to undo his country. Because we have the guys that do their countries. We can start naming them. They do to the detriment of their people. Their country, because of personal gains. What happened to Laurent Kabila? Laurent Kabila was thrown up after the demise of Mobutu Sese Seko. You know that crisis? Yeah. Before Kabila came on board. Kabila got an important opportunity to bring his country to the next level. But Kabila chose to immerse himself in searching for minerals.
Because of personal gain, personal interest.
Kabila was shot inside the presidential palace by groups who saw him trying to block the minerals from one zone of the country. He was parochial. He was not nationalistic. He was not patriotic. That was what killed Laurent Kabila. I remember Laurent Kabila was very popular when he came on board. Laurent Kabila, he was popular. He brought his son, Joseph Kabila, who now succeeded him immediately after. So, these are the reality that comes to play in the corridor, in the periphery of governance. We know, because we write on these issues. We are an expert. We have read the book. We have seen it happen. We have looked 10 years backward. We have looked 50 years backward. So if Tshisekedi wants to be a hero, to be written, he's not to be written in gold. He should do the needful. He should not allow some manufacturing companies in Europe or America, or some international mineral cartel to imprison him.
Yeah, but the big question...
They are there.
Yeah, no, the big question we ask is like, what is happening? I didn't want to talk about Nigeria, but it's like...
Why are you running for talking Nigeria? Nigeria is in Africa.
Yeah, it is in Africa.
Is it because President Tinubu is there, they should not talk?
No, not it. I mean, it's not the focus of what we're talking about today. But
we can start examples.
We can relate all these things to what is happening back home. I mean, it's like what is happening in Nigeria today. You have the Chinese, you have the Americans, the British, and all that. The Portuguese in Nigeria, and of course, they are dealing with our resources. No, they are dealing with our resources at the expense of you and I. But they tell us that they are bringing development and technology. Well, to an extent, they really bring the development and the technology. But the big question is the amount of resources that they take away. You know, when you measure it to the amount of
whatever they are bringing,
is very infinitesimal.
So
for the DRC, I mean, African leaders, they cannot guarantee this technology themselves. I mean, they need these Western powers. So if that is the issue, to what extent can they go?
That is what we are saying. African leaders should learn to develop Africa. Invest in technology.
We shouldn't rely on Western interests, Western powers.
How can we rely on them?
Western technology.
All the reliance of decades. How has it helped Africa? It has not helped Africa and Africans. So a visionary leader should invest in the educational sector. I meant, there's one contract I had not too long. You know, we do consultant biography too. A professor, a Nigerian, I want to give an example. Africa is blessed with brains. This Nigerian rose as far as the president of a university in America. He said the problem with Nigerians, the problem with Africans, is that we don't develop Africa. We don't invent technology. The best brains are not on the shores of Africa. The professor told me the best Nigerian brains, they are in all corners of the world. The best African brains, they are in all corners, they are not in Africa. Because the African leaders, they have refused to capture them. They have refused to make conducive arrangement. Environment.
Yeah.
For Africa to prosper. For Nigeria to prosper. Felix Tshisekedi should create the environment. He still has 5 years to go. He can do it. The country is rich. The country is not starving. There are minerals sweeping everywhere around the country. He should be focused. He should know what to do. He should not be parochial. He should not be an ethnic Mongo. A president can be an ethnic Mongo.
Yeah.
What Mobutu and the rest did, and start calling their names, they just close their eyes to reality. They brought physical torture. They brought economic torture. They brought social torture to the people. Instead of alleviating them from squalor and abject poverty.
Now
God will save Nigeria. God will save Africans.
Amen.
Until African leaders, I say it often on this program, until Africa allows the best brains, first-class materials to enter presidential palaces, nothing will happen positively.
Yeah.
Do you know what goes with presidential powers? Do you know the affluence? In the midst of the affluence, some of these leaders we see sell their country for oil or minerals inside your own country in Africa. They say to hell with the people.
Yeah, but most times the best brains are not interested.
How can the brain be interested when the electoral system is saturated with darkness? I use the word darkness.
With power-driven individuals.
Power-driven darkness. There's no light there. When the right things are not done, most Katumbu would have been the one to be elected now.
Not Felix.
Not Felix Tshisekedi.
But yeah, but
Moise Katumbu is popular. We went through the process. We studied the country.
Yeah, but he was not in charge of the electoral structure, the political structure in DRC. I mean, it's one thing to have the popularity, but are you in charge of the political structure? No. I mean, we've also seen some candidates,
the electoral
even
process
in Nigeria here, they have the popularity.
But according to one Joseph Stalin, the guy who came after Lenin in 1921, after the demise of Lenin, the guy who brought the revolution to Russia.
Yeah.
Mr. Stalin came on board. Mr. Stalin said, people can vote, but those who can't vote, now they're the one that African leaders are holding the knife and the cutlass in the electoral system. Okay.
So let us talk about.
So that's why the first characters will not emerge. Yeah, no matter how you shout, because the system it is institutionalized. Should I call it? I'm going to use the word banditry. Institutionalized backwardness. Institutionalized. Yeah, so that the thing will not work well. Yeah, the best guys will not appear. Yeah, no, so what are we saying? Yeah, until Africa rise, until the Africans and Africa rise. In each countries of Africa.
And maybe until our leaders be on one page. I mean, why will Felix Tshisekedi be trying to be wrestling for Kagame of Rwanda? Why? Yeah. Why? What is going on?
As I said, I speak as an expert. I want to be quoted in the realm of conflict resolution.
But let us be mindful with the way we say that.
No, I want to speak as an expert.
Yeah.
If Felix Tshisekedi engages for Kagame in Rwanda, that will spread doom for that country, because it cannot survive. Kagame is rooted. Kagame is a gorilla master. Kagame is
not just Paul Kagame now. His country, Rwanda. I mean, he's really giving leadership.
He's giving leadership.
Yes, in Rwanda.
So I think I felt the statement made by Tshisekedi that he will fight Paul Kagame. I'm sure it was a political statement.
Why will he want to do
if
that?
If he practicalizes it, his next 5 years will be in shambles. Because that will disorganize him, that will turn the table up, then the international conspirators will appear. You know, Paul Kagame is already a darling of the Western powers.
Yeah.
Given his performance.
Yeah,
that's why he's a dictator, by excellence, you know. But
I mean, he's providing leadership. Yeah.
He's providing leadership. So people want to talk about Rwanda, they want to talk about, you know, so if Tshisekedi miscalculate, if he miscalculate, but I want to struggle with Kagame, that he will swim in his own peril. Because the country, the people of Congo do not need that now. As an expert, what we want is peace. Bring everything on the table, the name of peace. Don't ethnicize the country. Don't bring your boys. Spread it around in your cabinet. People who are ethnic jingoists, bring them to the table. What do you want? Give and take. That is how it is done. So, my candid advice for Tshisekedi is to be patriotic, as I said earlier. It should be nationalistic, and it should carry everybody along. It should not make mistake. If he try to drag Paul Kagame, things will get worse. Because there's nothing positive that will come from war, from that zone. Nothing positive. Okay. I agree Kagame is harboring those guys, but he has his own reasons.
Okay, let's quickly talk about education now in the DRC, because of the poverty we talked about. Now, one offshoot of poverty in any nation is when education lacks. Now, in the DRC, it is reported that a huge number of children, they don't go to school.
They don't go to school.
Level and all that. So for Felix Tshisekedi, this second tenure now, let's talk about the way he should try to reorganize the education sector in the DRC. Let's talk about that.
That is the way to go. For me, the country is not impoverished,
but mismanaged.
Mismanagement. A country sitting on the bottomless pit of mineral resources, impoverished? No. It is mismanagement. Few human beings want to take what belongs to the majority. It's a sad scenario all over Africa. It's so sad. I start with that because Tshisekedi can start, he can institute a free education program. It can be done. Because the resources is there. A free education program. Look at the curricular, capsules in the educational sector, and bring technology
at all levels now.
At all levels.
Basic level of education.
Basic, at least one, the primary, secondary. Then look out for the capsules in the educational curricula. Bring technology. Give students scholarships. They will go to school the next 10 years, even after he has left. Lay the background. We know 5 years will not be enough. But you lay the background, the foundation. But I don't see him doing that. If he's a candidate that will do that, if he's a character that will do that, you would have seen that. I'm not sure he has a fantastic blueprint. Because if you come to power, you must have a blueprint. Though he's been there, he's a politician there, but no blueprint. If he has a blueprint, wouldn't they have done something in the last 5 years on this measure security? That's why we have a blueprint. Education, security. How do I handle this? How do I handle this? The man, even look at his mien, look at his face. The man doesn't look like a revolutionary leader. No, all these factors come to play. You need to have the force.
All right, so as we round up now on this, topic today, we've talked about security, and of course, we've talked about natural resource control, management and all that, and we've also talked about education. Now, let us talk about relationship with other nations now. Rwanda, because of the spillover of the Hutus and the Tutsi in Rwanda, the DRC has been in conflict for quite some time.
Yeah,
but don't you think that the DRC can take it above there? Try to relate with other neighboring countries and see how this issue of insecurity, because it is not only in Rwanda that we're having this spillover into the DRC, or some other, one or two other.
Chad is there. Other countries are there.
So I think it has more to do with not just Rwanda, it has more to do with other nations too.
Yeah. So, as I said, the best way is to come with an olive branch. Peace. It's not escalate the situation. That was if he miscalculates, the next 5 years it will be in peril for him. Because he will not see the road to do anything. This security will, if he is smart, you should befriend Paul Kagame.
Yeah, he should.
He should embrace him.
Developmental strides.
His
methodology.
And get things done. He should reach out. He should not dig himself in the name of I want to revenge. You are the one contributing to insecurity in my country. That will not work. The only branch should be there. You should reach out to neighboring countries. You should make peace. You should extend across and get involved in conflict transformation. But it's a key component in conflict resolution. Call it conflict transformation. You transform the conflict into something meaningful. There must be conflict. But once the conflict has been, once people have been demilitarized, you take advantage of the conflict and transform it.
Okay.
So it is to transform. It should be a transformist.
It should be a transformist.
Yeah. You should capitalize on the situation and transform the conflict into something positive.
Okay. So
in the interest of the people
of the Congolese.
Of the Congolese.
The Congolese, yeah.
So it's one the key thing you should take away. It should not
to flex
it's not famous with Kagame.
Yeah.
It's not famous with anybody.
Yeah.
You should just concentrate.
You should be focused. Change the narrative.
Change the narrative.
Yeah.
So I wish you well.
We want to say a very big thank you to you, Nowita. It's always a wonderful time anytime we have you on the show. And we'll be talking about the Democratic Republic of Congo, whereby Felix Tshisekedi has become the president, the former president, and of course the new president. He was sworn in on Saturday for a second term of 5 years. So we said it here that the next election is going to be in 2029. That's after a tenure of 5 years. So we wish Felix Tshisekedi well, and also for the closest rival now that has said that he's going to challenge a victory at the court. So we also wish him well. Yeah. And above it all, we wish all Congolese a second happy tenure of Felix Tshisekedi. Well, the program has been Africa Discourse on Independent Television. Until same time next week, my name remains Evan Sunokoge. Goodbye and God bless you.